Breaking news, peaceful protesters taking to the streets, rallying against the proposed policies of President-elect Donald Trump.
These protests come as both Trump and President Obama are expected to meet at the White House today. Brad Jones following these videos, these stories, the protests. He joins us now with more. Brad.
Good morning to you. A peaceful transition of power. That's what the president-elect expected to talk about during a meeting today. They'll meet at the Oval Office around 11 a.m. And during that meeting, First Lady Michelle Obama will spend time with Melania Trump in the residence part of the White House. The president extended the invitation to Trump while speaking yesterday. But now another big story of the day, post-election anger all across the country, including here in the Triad. Dozens of people marching through downtown Winston-Salem last night. The group made up mostly of students chanting things like, "Not my president," "No bigots in the White House," and "Love Trump's hate." All lasted for an hour and a half, demonstrators marching, even sang the national anthem at times.
It's really difficult to know that hate speech is what drove a president's candidacy, or got him elected rather, and that's not something I think our country should be built on, stand on. We need a president who represents all people in this country.
Winston-Salem, just one of the cities where protesters headed to the streets. Demonstrators out in cities like New York, Dallas, and Philadelphia. Most of the people taking part have the same message. Protesters hit the streets in cities across America Wednesday night, upset over the election of Donald Trump. Thousands marched in New York outside of Trump Tower.
I believe the United States has made a terrible mistake. I think that Americans have been very naive to very strong shifts of governments to the right throughout the Western world.
Hillary Clinton and President Obama have called for Democrats to accept the results. Protesters in Washington, D.C. say they are saddened by Trump's surprise win.
I think that a lot of people are here mourning, and I know that I definitely had a rough, disappointing day, but you know, I'm here because my friends are here and we're all here together.
Protesters in Texas, a state won by Trump, are planning to move forward after the election.
We know that the elections have happened and that we have to face the results. But what we can do is mobilize and organize.
Trump supporters, though, say the real estate mogul legitimately won the election.
You know, they're exercising their free speech rights. But what exactly are they protesting? Constitutional republic's way of engaging in democracy?
Demonstrators say they are protesting peacefully.
I think that we don't want to combat hate with hate, and protesting in this way, I think, is a little bit, sends more of a powerful message.
Now, protests not only here in the States, the entire world reacting to Trump's surprise victory. In London, hundreds of people gathered outside the U.S. Embassy yesterday, a group called Stand Up to Racism behind the event.
We believe that Donald Trump isn't fit to become president. We respect that he's been elected, but we respect nothing about the man. We don't respect his racism, his misogyny, and actually the man, in terms, a man that doesn't pay his taxes while demanding that poor people pay theirs.
Well, members of another group held a counter-protest not far from that one. It's not the only kind of protest we are seeing across the country. There have also been reports of graffiti, including right here in North Carolina. One business owner says this graffiti showed up on a wall in Durham County. The message says, quote, "Black lives don't matter and neither does your vote."
Wanted to voice the fact that this is not what I stand for, and to encourage people to let them know that we matter and our vote did count.
Well, people who live there say they found similar graffiti about a quarter-mile away from that instance. Durham County actually had some voting problems, you may recall, on Election Day. The election board had to manually put in about 90,000 votes. Police in Philadelphia say they're looking for whoever's responsible for this graffiti, spray painted on the side of a building there. One piece shows a swastika used to replace the letter T in Trump, while more graffiti showed a swastika along with a popular Nazi phrase. There have been reports of people urging peace. Pop star Katy Perry tweeting this simply out, saying, "Peacefully protest." Also had the symbol of an American flag and praying hands. Meanwhile, activist Tyler Oakley tweeting this out after protesting in New York, calling the night packed, peaceful, and inspiring. And actor Jesse Williams tweeted this out, urging people to come together, but to also be safe. A lot of reaction, believe me, to the election results, as we saw even overseas.
Sure, and President Obama will be meeting with President-elect Trump later today at 11 o'clock. The president spoke to our nation yesterday saying he'll do everything he can to make this transition a smooth one.
And we heard a similar tone in the message from Hillary Clinton.
That's what I was going to say. She said give him a chance.
Yes.
He hasn't even been inaugurated yet, so we'll see. Brad, thanks.
After nearly 20 years in prison, a Piedmont man going home today.
Calvin Michael Smith's case made national headlines, and he has always said he was wrongfully convicted. Fox 8's Amber Roberts is live from the Forsyth Correctional Center with the details on this story. Amber, good morning.
Carrie and Melissa, later on today, Calvin Smith will leave here from the Forsyth Correctional Center. He was actually supposed to be released yesterday, but his lawyer said because of some issues with paperwork, that delayed his release until today.
For months, attorney Walter Holton has been working hard to bring Calvin Michael Smith back home.
He served a lot of time, and it's time for him to be home with his family.
That time came Wednesday afternoon after a judge ruled that Smith be immediately released from the Forsyth Correctional Center.
He has a son that's 19 that he's never really got to know, and you know, he doesn't know how to use the cell phone.
Last week, Holton filed a motion saying that evidence which could have shortened Smith's sentence, like a good work history and family support, was never mentioned in court.
When Michael was sentenced in 1997, these factors weren't presented.
45-year-old Smith was convicted of armed robbery and assault in the beating of Jill Marker. The beating, which happened in December 1995, left Marker with severe brain injuries. But community leaders and local activists say there was never any evidence proving that Smith was the attacker, sparking several protests.
No justice, no peace.
More than a dozen people gathered outside the courtroom after Wednesday's hearing in support of Smith's release.
After almost 2 decades of wrongful incarceration, we are happy that Michael gets to go home to his family. He deserves that. They deserve that. But they do not correct the miscarriage of justice.
Smith's original release date was in 2020, but his lawyer says the reason he's getting out today is because issues with his sentencing after his conviction they feel like were not fair. They were able to prove that. However, Smith's guilty conviction has not been overturned, even though he still maintains his innocence, Melissa.
So a lot of work still to be done on that case. Amber Roberts reporting live for us. Amber, thank you.
Well, tomorrow the nation will pause to honor those who have served our country. One way is with parades. Several will take place, including in Winston-Salem. That parade starts tomorrow at 10 in the morning on 4th Street between Spring and Poplar Streets. It will head south once it reaches Liberty Street and end at Corpening Plaza on 1st Street. Detours will go up shortly after 8 o'clock. That parade is expected to wrap up around noon. Town of Graham is gearing up for its annual Veterans Day Parade. It will roll tomorrow at 1 o'clock. This, by the way, is the 3rd year for that event. And then join us tomorrow night as we honor our nation's heroes. Coming Home airs at 7 o'clock and includes several stories about the return to civilian life. One of those stories, a veteran who is now a school resource officer. It's a great story. Hear why he says he is still serving the country.